Joining me now, Governor Bobby Jindal of Louisiana and Joe Trippi to answer him, veteran presidential campaign manager and Fox News contributor. Let's start. Thank you, gentlemen. Great to have you both here. Let me start first with Governor Jindal. You outlined what you call the president's 4 stages of anger on Twitter. You want to share that with our viewers at home?
Sure, Martha, thank you for having me. His first step, he tells us he's got this. His second step, he then feigns, he pretends madness. His third step, and now you see it, we're actually getting to that third step now. He and his surrogate say they simply need more of our money. His fourth step finds a way to blame the Republicans. We have seen this before. We saw it with the oil spill. Time and time again, this president has shown his incompetence. He told us the virus wasn't going to come here, then it did. He told us it wasn't going to spread, and then it did. He feigns anger. He says he needs more money. The next step, it's coming. It's going to be the Republicans' fault. I guarantee it's predictable. It's going to happen.
You know, some of his critics might add a stage where he says that everybody, people will be held accountable and that he will get to the bottom of whatever the situation is, because we have seen that a lot, and the president's critics say that often that doesn't lead to any action. I thought it was very interesting today in this article in the New York Times. This is a quote from David Axelrod, who was one of the president's closest advisors, and the language and the way that he talks about this, I thought was quite apt. He says it's not enough to doggedly and persistently push for answers in meetings. This is advice to the president. You have to be seen doggedly and persistently pushing for answers. It still feels like optics in that quote and that suggestion, Governor.
You're absolutely right, Martha. This is all about managing the 24-hour news cycle. It's all about politics. It's all about appearances and perception. The problem is we've got a commander-in-chief. We've got a president who's never run anything before. We see his incompetence on display here. This is malpractice now, but it's not the first time. Unfortunately, we've seen the failures domestically. We saw it up close here in Louisiana with the oil spill. We saw it overseas with a failed red line. You just heard this nurse, and unfortunately, we saw this during the oil spill. They don't want to listen to the people on the front lines, the so-called experts. They don't want to display common sense. Why not, for example, why not implement this travel ban? I called for it several days ago, a couple of weeks ago, and now you're beginning to see elected officials, both Democrat and Republican, join in for this call. They're not making common sense decisions. Sometimes the so-called smartest guys in government are sometimes the dumbest guys. Why not use common sense?
Governor, thank you very much. Good to talk to you tonight.